Reggie Bush and Mark Schlereth are back. Time now for a big story. Let's move to Dallas, where Jerry Jones is raising expectations, saying there's no reason the Cowboys shouldn't be better this year than they were last year, especially on offense. With Dak Prescott and Jason Garrett in the last year of their contracts, the pressure is on, especially after Dallas promoted Kellen Moore to offensive coordinator, who some people believe could be the coach in waiting. All right, the question here is, who's under the most pressure from Jerry Jones, Dak Prescott or Jason Garrett? I say it's Jason Garrett just because Kellen Moore has been promoted to offensive coordinator, and he may be the head coach in waiting. They've got Jason Garrett's replacement perhaps lined up. They don't have a replacement for Dak.
I don't know. Well, I played with Kellen Moore in Detroit, and I'm actually happy to see that he's been making moves and become the offensive coordinator, because I think he has a really bright mind. But I just think Jason Garrett, man, he has to be on the hot seat. But every year it feels like we say this, and every year he somehow keeps his job. And I'll say this: Jerry Jones is one of the most loyal owners in the NFL, because he is stuck by Jason Garrett's side through hell and high water. And it seems like every year when we're sitting here talking about this, that Jason Garrett somehow they make it to the they squeak into the playoffs, or something happens throughout that season where he keeps his job. And so it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out this year, because I also believe that Dak Prescott as well is maybe a little bit on a hot seat, because they played well last year, right? But he was the second most sacked quarterback in the NFL. He got saved throughout that season by his defense. They had a really good defense last year. The game against the Rams in the playoffs, he had a really good game. He was 20 for 32, 266 yards, a touchdown. That's a really good game for him, and they still lost the game, right? And they had a great defense and a really good run game. And usually that's the formula when you get to the playoffs to winning.
Who's under the most pressure?
I think it's Jason Garrett.
I think it's Dak Prescott. I mean, Jason Garrett has always been, like, he's the de facto coach because Jerry Jones is coaching this team. Like you know what I mean? He's a marionette. Like, he's just got his puppet, right? So I look at Dak Prescott. I mean, you're playing for another contract. You're playing for a big contract. You've seen the money that's out there, $35 million a year to Russell Wilson. You have got to produce. And I like Dak Prescott as a player. I really do. Some of those sacks that you mentioned are Dak Prescott-induced sacks, because you hold the ball too long. You're not quite 100% sure in some cases. But look at this. Jerry Jones came out yesterday, I guess, and said, hey, man, I fully expect us to be better than we were last year. There is strength up the middle. You look at the way they're built. You talked about their defense, and their defense is outstanding. I think the best two young linebackers in football on their defense. You've got a great pass rusher, a good secondary. Strength up the middle. They're getting Travis Frederick back from his illness. He'll be great for them. He's a great player. They're getting Witten back to be the security blanket that Dak Prescott needs. They went and got a slot receiver in Randall Cobb, who to me he may not be the most dynamic guy. He's smart, and that guy can play inside. He can play outside. He can play in the backfield. He gives them another element to take pressure off the outside. To me, Dak Prescott, this is your prove-it year. You have got a football team that should win the NFC East and should compete deep into the playoffs. That's on you.
But let me ask you this question. Do you think that Dak kind of affords them to be able to pay other people, right? Because he's not going to demand a super big contract, so they don't have to push a lot of money into that position. They can kind of spread it out more.
If they're proactive, if they came to him right now and said, hey, man, we're going to take care of you. Right. We're going to take care of you, and we're going to pay you what, like 20, like, because he still has probably, what, 2 years left? He's got this year and the fifth-year option? So if you came to him early and you were proactive, which would be the smart thing to do, you could probably lock him up.
I don't think that would be the smart thing. I let him play this year, and if it doesn't go well, based off what Witten, Randall Cobb, Amari Cooper, Frederick back on the offensive line, anchoring the offensive line, if it doesn't go well this year, I draft a rookie quarterback and start the cycle all over again. I try to win the following year with all my pieces with a rookie quarterback. Jerry Jones, to me, is saying 12 wins minimum here, guys. We won 10 last year without all the perfect pieces. I've given you the perfect pieces. We've got a creative offensive coordinator. We think in Kellen Moore. We think he's our Sean McVay. I brought Jason Witten back, saved him from being a bomb on TV. We got We have a deep threat, a guy that can stretch the field, and Amari Cooper, and we got a slot receiver. Dak, deliver. And if Jason Garrett survives, it will, and they have a poor season. They win 9 games or something like that, or even 10 and bow out of the first round of the playoffs. If he survives, it will be because Jason Garrett has been saying behind the scenes for the longest, Dak ain't good enough. And because Jerry's Dak's biggest supporter. Mm-hmm. Jerry's the guy that sees Dak as a potential Russell Wilson. Mm-hmm. And I think some of the guys on the coaching staff don't see that. And if Jason survives, it'll be because he's been playing all the time behind the scenes like, hey, Jerry, we're overextended here.
Who else do they have, though? Who else do they have? Nobody behind them.
Draft a guy next year.
Right, but you draft a guy next year, and that's a couple-year process, and then your left tackle is in retirement. Mm-hmm. Your right guard is...
prospect. You can win with a rookie quarterback if all the pieces around you are right.
Wait, which rookie quarterbacks win in Super Bowls? We're talking about no, you show me.
None of them.
Wait, where was that list? Where was that list again? Let me get those lists.
And none of them win.
That's a very good point.
All right.
That's a very good point.
Because you're looking, Jerry is basically saying, dude, this is a Super Bowl championship roster that I have created for you, a Super Bowl championship roster. Let's go win it.
All right, coming up, Kevin Durant could be forced to choose between legacy and his happiness. We'll tell you which way he should go